Hi folks, this is Rupe, Field Agronomist for Golden Harvest covering the state of Wisconsin. I'm here today to talk a little bit about nitrogen utilization and also nitrogen stabilizers that some of you growers may be considering using. So right now, a lot of the crop within the state of Wisconsin is kind of right around that ankle high to knee high growth stage. So it's a great time to be getting some nitrogen out there to feed our crop. I know that there's a lot of people side dressing nitrogen right now. So we're just going to talk a little bit about the forms, the potential losses that we could see with nitrogen, and then also some products that we can use to try to slow some of that reaction down. So the most common forms that are used, at least within the state of Wisconsin, would be urea, dry urea. Dry urea that's simply what the product is. Here's the chemical formula for that right down here. And then the other product that's typically used is also liquid UAN. So UAN is a mixture of a couple different nitrogen products. It's got 50% urea and then 25% and 25% of both ammonium and nitrate. And both of those are inorganic forms of nitrogen that are plant available. So some of the losses that can occur from a nitrogen application could be denitrification. If we're in a very wet, rainy weather and where there was saturated soil conditions, what that nitrate does in the soil is actually gets converted to N2 gas and then is lost to the atmosphere. The second type of loss would be leaching. So that's also deals with that nitrate form. And what happens is during leaching, that nitrate gets carried down the soil profile with water and is lost down where the plant roots cannot actually access that form of nitrogen. The third loss is volatilization. And volatilization occurs when the ammonium form of nitrogen is converted to ammonia, and then that is a gas. Ammonia is a gas, and that is also lost to the atmosphere. So those are the three types of losses that occur. Volatilization will typically occur more in the hot, dry conditions whenever that fertilizer is applied to the surface and is not either watered in via rainfall or irrigation, or is not incorporated in with some type of cultivation or tillage tool. So some of the different products or inhibitors that one could use with their nitrogen fertilizer, there's two types of inhibitors. And I know that sometimes nitrogen inhibitors or stabilizers kind of get all lumped together, but these two, they perform differently and they're used in different situations. So it's important to know which one you should be using based upon what your weather conditions are, what your soil textures are, what your irrigation or rainfall looks like. So there are urease inhibitors and there are nitrification inhibitors. This is kind of the chemical reaction that occurs within the soil and within plant uptake. So we have urea over here on the left. That gets converted to ammonium via a urease enzyme. A urease inhibitor slows that reaction or stops that reaction from occurring too fast. And by using a urease inhibitor, it allows for rainfall to occur and actually incorporate that urea into the soil where it's not lost via volatilization. So if we're worried about volatilization losses, a urease inhibitor is a really good tool to use in those situations. If we keep moving across this reaction here, ammonium can then get converted to nitrate. Both of those forms are plant available, but ammonium will convert to nitrate in the soil. And so, as you can see, nitrate has two forms of losses that can occur. It can get leached down, which is probably the most common one, and then also denitrified, both in very wet, rainy, waterlogged conditions. That's where we can get nitrate losses. So a nitrification inhibitor slows this reaction down from occurring and keeps it in the more stable form of ammonium instead of moving it to nitrate. So that's a little bit about each one of those inhibitors, where you should be using each one of those inhibitors, You know, right now, at least in the state of Wisconsin, we're experiencing some really hot, dry conditions. So really, in most cases, a urease inhibitor is going to be what we're going to use. But there are situations where if we have irrigation and we're watering heavily, or if we're in very coarser soils where a lot of that water movement goes down and can carry nitrate with it, then a nitrification inhibitor may be the best tool. And that was just a little bit of summary about what you should be considering whenever we're making these in-season nitrogen applications.